Have you ever asked yourself, when did the resistance begin? In a world built on injustice, who was brave enough to be the first to say, this is wrong? Who stood up, alone at first, and said, I will not be silent? Because racism didn't go unchallenged. Not even in the beginning. From the very first chains, there were voices. And those voices became a movement, a rising tide, a hope that refused to die. In this episode of Equal Voices Hub, we uncover the story of resistance, the people who took a stand against racism before it was popular, before it was safe, before the world was ready. And we ask, was it worth it? Did they succeed? Or are we still climbing the same mountain today? Before we dive deep, take a moment. Think of a question that's been sitting in your heart. Something about justice, equality, race, or truth. Drop it in the comments. Your question might shape our next video. Because here, we rise together. Now, back to that question. Who took the first stand? Let's go back, far back, to the earliest days of colonial slavery, when people were being dehumanized, traded and chained simply because of their skin. Even then, resistance lived. On slave ships crossing the Atlantic, African captives rebelled. Some leaped overboard rather than live in bondage. Others fought back, led mutinies, or passed down songs of resistance in secret. These acts weren't written into history books, but they were real, and they were powerful in the Americas. Enslaved people like Gaspar Yanga in Mexico led uprisings. In 1609, Yanga founded one of the first free black settlements in the Western Hemisphere after rebelling against the Spanish. His stand lit a spark. Over time, more voices rose. In Haiti, Toussaint Louverture and the enslaved Haitian people led the first successful slave revolt in history, defeating French, Spanish, and British armies. Haiti became the first black republic in 1804. Imagine what that meant in a world where white supremacy was law. But resistance wasn't only in revolts. It was also in writing, in speaking, in organizing, in surviving. In the United States, people like Frederick Douglass, a man born into slavery, escaped, taught himself to read, and became one of the most powerful abolitionist voices the world has ever known. His speeches shook nations. His presence alone shattered stereotypes. Harriet Tubman led hundreds of people to freedom through the Underground Railroad. She risked her life, again and again, so others could taste liberty. I never ran my train off the track, she said, and I never lost a passenger. These were the early giants. But they weren't alone. White allies like William Lloyd Garrison, Quakers, and early feminists also took part in the abolitionist fight. Though they didn't face the same stakes, their support mattered because ending racism has always required collective courage. Fast forward to the 20th century, and the voices became louder. Martin Luther King Jr., with his unmatched power of words, spoke of a dream not yet realized. Rosa Parks, by refusing to give up her seat, reminded the world how dignity begins with no. Malcolm X called out racism, not as accident, but design. He forced America to confront its reflection. And yet, for every well-known name, there were millions more marching, striking, sitting in, singing, writing, organizing, voting, resisting. From school children in Birmingham facing dogs and hoses, to students in Soweto protesting apartheid, to freedom riders beaten on southern roads, their collective voice reshaped the world. And here's the question that always follows: was it worth it? Let's be honest. The road has not been easy. Change has not come fast. But yes, it was worth it. Because of those first stands, laws changed, slavery ended, civil rights were won, apartheid fell, colonies gained independence. People found pride in their identity instead of shame. But just because progress happened, doesn't mean the fight is over. Racism today wears new clothes. It's in police systems, school funding gaps, health disparities, biased AI, workplace ceilings. It's more subtle, sometimes more silent, but still lethal. So what's the result of all that resistance? The result is you watching this, you asking questions, you wondering where to go from here. You are part of the legacy. The resistance worked and still works because it lives on in each new voice that rises. And don't be fooled. Resistance is not always loud. It can be quiet, steady, every day. It's in the teacher who changes her curriculum, the father who teaches his son empathy, the teen who calls out a racist joke at school, the artist who paints the truth, the coder who redesigns fair algorithms, the citizen who votes knowing the past still echoes at the ballot box. Every one of these acts is a thread in the fabric of justice. And when enough of us pull together, the world does shift. It already has. If you ever wonder whether standing up matters, ask the millions who marched so you could speak freely. Ask the elders who bled so your rights could be protected. Ask the dreamers who never saw their dreams come true but planted the seeds anyway. It matters. You matter. And yes, the resistance still costs something. It takes energy, it invites backlash, it asks for courage, but it gives more than it takes. It gives pride, it gives connection, it gives a sense of purpose that no paycheck or applause ever could. Because in the end, standing up against racism isn't about becoming a hero, it's about becoming human. fully, unapologetically human and helping others do the same at Equal Voices Hub. That's the mission. To tell the stories they tried to erase, to ask the questions they told us not to ask, to turn whispers into action. So now we turn to you. What do you want us to unpack next? Comment below with the truth you're searching for and let us bring it into the light. And if this video moved you, share it. Share it with someone who needs a reminder that resistance isn't just history, it's alive, it's now, it's you. This is Equal Voices Hub, where silence ends and change begins.